It's the Eagle Community Television Forum with your host, Gary Shorman.
Hi, I'm Gary Shorman, and this is the Forum on Eagle Television. Great to have you along. Our forum's brought to you by HaysMed. Our guest today was involved in some of the excitement a few weeks ago out along I-70, and those were the fires that not only blew one way across I-70, but then the wind switched, blew back across the way. And some of the people that are out there that take care of us are the troopers along I-70. Our guest today is Todd Hileman. Todd is a state trooper, but he's also the public information officer for Northwest Kansas for the Kansas Highway Patrol. Todd, great to have you on the show.
Thanks for having me.
One of the things that we drive up and down, all of us that are out in western Kansas, drive up and down I-70, we see troopers out there.
Yes.
Sometimes we like them. Sometimes if we're going too fast, we may not like them. But what caused you to get into the trooper business?
Well, that's a long story. Well, I was actually working in...
We have as much tape as you want here. We can just roll.
Okay,
here.
I'll talk forever. I was actually working in media. I worked for the Cake affiliate out of Colby, and my family is in media, cable and television, and then radio, stuff like that. So I think it's just kind of in the blood. So I loved working for that, doing commercial inserts, little board work, master board. And then they automated it and laid us off. And then I was like, what am I going to do? And then a friend of mine said, hey, we're hiring. He worked for the sheriff's office, Colby. He said, we're hiring for a sheriff's deputy, or a jailer, actually. And I was like, ugh, I don't want to do that. So but I thought, well, got a family, some needs money to support, I'll do it for a while. So I worked in the jail a couple of years, then they promoted me to the road. And after about 4 years on the road, I thought, boy, I really love this career. I mean, there's freedom, a lot of freedom. You're not stuck in an office, you get to be out, you get to be helping people. I enjoyed that. But I thought, if I was going to stay in this career, I want to find, I want to go into the agency that I feel is the best agency in Kansas and the most professional. And that was the Highway Patrol. And right about that time, they opened up and was hiring again. I thought, well, I'll try. A lot of people it takes them 2 or 3 times to get on. But I was 29, had 6 years experience. So I got on, and the rest is history.
You know what, I've just had a young person I know that just was inducted Kansas Highway Patrol. It's quite a ceremony, going through that ceremony, the induction process to be a highway patrolman, a trooper, and that's a pretty cool deal.
Yeah, and it's just it's such a feel of family, and I just was talking to one of your guys out front here, and he said, hey, I just had a conversation about you. My college roommate said you and he were classmates in the academy, and so I was like, yeah, well, yeah. So, I mean, when you're going through there, you hate it, it's very militaristic, but you come out with an extra set of brothers and sisters, and you just kind of remain a family, and the patrol just stays with you, part of your life. Retirees still come to our stuff, you're just, once a trooper, always a trooper. So.
One of the things I know people out there may want to know is what does a trooper do every day from a standpoint? Do you have a regular schedule, or are you assigned a certain schedule? Because I know you cover a large area of Northwest Kansas.
Well, I have a different schedule than the other guys do, because my schedule is based on who is needing me at what time and where. So, mostly I'm Monday through Friday during the day, because that's when I'm mostly needed, because I go to schools and talk to kids a lot, help out with what I did, a mock fatality. I did one of those, helped with one of those in Natoma last week. And then, but there are sometimes they want me to come speak in the evening and on the weekend. So my schedule kind of rotates. But the road guys, they work like a half night, half day kind of thing. And they work some days 7 days in a row, then 5, then 8 days in a row, and that's just how their schedule kind of works.
What does a typical a typical trooper do day in, day out, as far as county and miles when they go out on the road?
Well, I mean, we have, a lot of people think that what we do is we sit out on the highways and write tickets, and we do that. I mean, that's part of our job. But no, the Highway Patrol was born, way back in 1937. We were born to identify and remove criminals off of our highways that use our highways to further their criminal enterprise. So we have we have different teams. We have our pilots. We have our reconstructionists that reconstruct accidents. We have our criminal interdictors. We have our road troopers that are the ones that are usually responding to crashes. And so a day in the life of each of us is different, and one day they could be doing this, the next day they could be doing that. So.
Well, that's kind of what happened on your day. You were up in Marysville, correct? You were doing a program up there, and on the way home, coming back along I-70, what was the first thing you saw coming back on I-70 when we had these really horrific fires?
Well, I got past Ellsworth going westbound, coming home to Hayes, and I start seeing the smoke, and then I hear my partners all showing up and talking about where is it, how fast is it going, how big is it, and and then I thought, well, I'll stop here, and the smoke was coming across I-70 pretty decently, so I was taking pictures and uploading them to my Facebook and Twitter account to warn people about what was going on, telling people if you live in the town of Wilson, you might need to watch out, keep an eye on this. And then, it just, I went down, and then my partner saw that I was there, and they said, hey, we're going to go in and start telling people in Wilson, do you think we need to evacuate and make it mandatory? And we're discussing that. And then they said, they were asking me, how close are you on I-70 in the median? And I said, yeah. I was just a few miles west of the Wilson interchange, and they said, where is the fire? And I said, well, I can see it. It's still out in the field quite a ways out there. And they kept asking, is it going to make it to I-70? Is it going to make it to I said, I don't know. And then the next thing I know, man, if you look on my Facebook page on the video I just uploaded on Saturday, the reason I uploaded it is just to show everybody how fast that fire was moving. I mean, 1 minute it was 50 yards away from interstate, the next minute it was there, and so then my next thought was, is it going to jump? And because it does a lot of times, especially with that high amount of wind. But then I saw a couple fire trucks, and I thought, well, maybe they'll contain it. And then the next thing I know, it's like the fire got to westbound I-70 and had a mind of its own and said, whoop, I can't go past this, so how do I get past this? It kind of went up in the air like this and right in the median, and I was like, wow, that is incredible.
Well, one of the things I know people referred to you as kind of a hero for helping out here to a couple of people that were really in serious trouble along there. What was that about?
Yeah, and the whole hero thing, you can save that for Julio Iglesias here. He applied for that title years ago and got it. So.
Yeah. But, it's one of the things, not everybody wants to jump into the middle of a fire and go make that and go save somebody. Well, you were right there.
But you have to understand, everything was happening so fast. Once it jumped into the median, I said, hey, we got somebody back behind me, we need to get I-70 shut down. And then that's when I jumped on I-70. I was trying to turn people around, go back. And then, it wasn't too bad behind it to the west of me. To the east, you couldn't hardly see anything. So I had to stop cars, and people understand, well, hey, this is a free country, why can't I drive through? I'm like, well, because you can't see anything. I don't know if there's a fireman, 50 feet into that smoke cloud, just standing there trying to put the fire out, and you're going to plow over top of them. So our job there was to protect the scene, protect the firemen, and let them do their job. And honestly, they were the real heroes. They're the ones that are going into that stuff. And I'm stopping people, and you have to remember when you're telling people to turn around and they've never turned around on interstate, they're like, how do I do this? So,
where to go, left, right.
I'm like, I should have drew up a signboard and said, this is, just do
that
this.
way. Yeah.
And then people were like, well, how do I get to where I'm going? So I just, viewers out there, if you ever get turned around on a road by a state trooper and they're telling you to find a different route, just remember, this is the 21st century, and we all have these wonderful things called cell phones, and you just Google a different route, But so people were like, how do I get there? And I'm like, there's fire everywhere. Go, get out of here. Yeah. So they're turning around, and I had one truck. I turned one truck around, and I said, angle it through the median, and he was like, okay. So he did. Because there was enough smoke behind us that if I tried to get him to back up, I didn't know if a car was going to come cream him, and I just couldn't leave him set there because I knew the fire was going to engulf that whole area here pretty quick. So the second truck, I said, turn around. While he was turning around, I told him, turn and go at like a 45-degree angle through there, and then I was turning other people around, and then the next thing out of the back, he was to the back of me. All I could hear were tires going, and I turned around, and I would tell you, I was like, oh my gosh. And I'm like, man, I hope he can get that thing out of there. And about that time, I went up and talked to him. I'm like, can you rock it at all? And he was trying to. And then all of a sudden I was like, wow, it is like incredibly smoky all of a sudden. And then I looked behind us, and the fire was in front of us, it was behind us now, and I was like, we just have to get out of here. So that's why I put him in my car and told him to get in, and we went west and was driving through all that and praying. People say, what happened to the audio on it? And I said, I didn't shut it off. It was the in-car microphone, and I think when he got in, because when he got in, he put one hand on the dash and one hand up here, and he hit the microphone. So, and that's how he was like that. So they said they would love to hear what I was saying, and I said, all you missed was me telling him like 6 times to put a seatbelt on, and there was probably some prayers in there somewhere.
Yeah, well, boy, those are those crazy times that you don't plan for. Do you train for fires?
No, not much. I mean, we train for like car fires and stuff like that, but those kind of things, no. And I mean, as far as like firemen do, no. I mean, we do get information on it, this and that. But I've been in a lot of fires like that. That one it moved so fast, it was crazy.
That's what I've heard, the people that have been around fires like that, the wind was just taking in, it was so dry that it was just racing through the countryside, and if you didn't get your things out, you were going to lose them if you happened to be in the way of that fire and making that happen. Well, Todd, we're going to take a break and come back. You mentioned one thing, and that has to do with social media and how you were using that and how the troopers are using that and Highway Patrol's using that to help connect with not only the Kansas residents, but people that, in this case, trying to help save people by doing that. So our guest had been Todd Hileman. He's a state trooper for the Kansas Highway Patrol. Back with more after this.
Hayes Med is your first and best choice for healthcare. They're the only facility providing tertiary level services in this region. With more than 70 physicians and 26 specialties ranging from heart, orthopedic, spine care, cancer, obstetrics and gynecology, wound care, rehabilitation and surgery, including the Da Vinci robotic surgery, Hayes Med is your comprehensive health provider for people throughout Western Kansas. Hayes Med, helping people be healthy.
Are you frustrated with Wi-Fi dead zones in your home? It happens when you don't have Pulse, the cutting-edge Wi-Fi solution from Eagle Communications. A Pulse-certified Eagle technician maps your home, then installs a dual-band modem and router, plus discrete access points to deliver wall-to-wall Wi-Fi with no dead zones. Pulse powers all your family's devices in all the places you love to live. Get Pulse. Wi-Fi made simple. Only from Eagle Communications. Call today.
Welcome back to the second half of our forum here on Eagle Television. It's great to have you watching our show. We'd like suggestions, special guests that you might want us to have on the program. Let me know. Gary.Shorman@eaglecom.net. You can also go online on Facebook under ECTV Forum, and you can connect with us there as well. Our guest is Todd Hileman. He's a state trooper for Kansas Highway Patrol. He's also the public information officer for Northwest Kansas. He was involved in the big fire and happened in March 6th that burned up a big area. I just drove through there. That fire is still, you can see where the fire is burnt through, burnt one way and then came back across the interstate. How horrific that is. We talked about a little bit of how people that show up and they see the smoke on the road, same way with fog, other things you get on where you can't see how dangerous that is to do that. You see that every day. It's one thing to be out there and say turn around, but some people just seem they have no patience. They don't want to turn around, safety being a factor or not.
Yeah, if we're turning you around, there's a pretty good reason. We can't just close, it has to be an emergency for us to close like I-7 or anything else. Really the only people that can close the road is KDOT. So unless there is an emergency, a short-term emergency, then we are allowed to do that and use our judgment. So if we're telling you to turn around, there is a really good reason. So people just need to remember, it's not like we're not trying to make your life harder. We're trying to save your life is what we're doing.
A lot of people that had some people that were part of our company that were driving back, they had to go north or south. A couple of them went south, a couple of them went north, made it around, a little extra trip, but they made it safe. And that's the real idea behind it.
Yes,
you mentioned social media and using that. Now, when I grew up, when I was in school, I had Trooper K for safety every day. We didn't have social media then, but when you talk to students, you also talk to them through social media. What's the background behind that?
Well, about 3-4 years ago, there's the 7 of me, the public relations officers. My partner, Trooper Ben out of Salina, he jumped on Twitter. He kind of turned his personal page into a trooper page and started tweeting out about things that he was doing and doing this. And then he said, hey, you should try that. And I thought to myself, what is Twitter? I mean, it's like a teenager site. But I didn't realize that all the media was on Twitter. You know, all the Wichita stations and, you know, local news people are on Twitter because it moves so fast. Mm-hmm. And then, you know, we sat down and talked about it, and then three of us jumped on, myself, Ben, and Trooper Gary out of Wichita. He's now retired teaching for KLETC. But we jumped on and started tweeting, you know, about stuff that we were doing, safety stuff. And we did that for a while. And the good thing about it was there was a major storm. We jumped on in January, and like 2 weeks after we got on, this huge, what was it, back in about 4 years ago, huge snowstorm came in. So we were doing what we normally do. We'd go help people, you know, work crashes. But at the end, beginning or middle of what we were doing, we'd snap a photo, and put it out on social media saying, hey, you know, this is what happened here. This is why it happened. You know, anything, whatever we wanted to say. So so we gained a lot of followers pretty quick, and then we sat down and I said, what are we doing what is our goal? What are our goals? So we came up with the 4 main goals, and the first one was to connect with the media, because that's who we are. We're the ones that give media interviews and stuff like that. So to connect with the media, and they were all on Twitter. And then the second one was to humanize law enforcement, because law enforcement was going through a rough time to where, you know, a lot of people thought we were the bad people, and so we wanted to humanize it and open ourselves up to the public to say. That's why you'll see us put personal stuff on there sometimes, because we want people to see, yes, we do wear this uniform, but I'm also a father. You know, I go home in the evening, I cook for my kids, I coach them in every sport, you know, stuff like that. Some of the things that people don't really understand, and we wanted to highlight our agency and all the things that we do, and let people know that we're not just out writing speeding tickets. There's lots of things that we do. The fourth was recruiting, the third was recruiting, and the fourth was putting out just general safety information to the public.
Well, it's neat to see that happening, because that does connect with a different age of audience for the most part, and it's
yes.
the youth that will connect, and like you say, the media and others that are involved with social media, they may be looking at that page before they look at anything else.
Yes, and you'd be amazed on how many high school kids follow us on social media. I was shocked when they started following us. I was like, wow. And you know, the neat thing about it is in that aspect is I will go in and talk to the kids and say, you know, give them a hour presentation about something, and then afterwards say, does anyone have any questions about anything? You can ask me anything. I'm pretty easygoing, whatever you want to know, laws, this, that. I might have 1 or 2 kids that raise their hand and ask me questions, but most of them, they don't want to, you know, they don't want to put themselves out, you know. So, and then I'll walk to my car, flip my computer on, and check my social media pages, and I've got 4 or 5 messages from some of the kids that were in the class. Hey, Trooper Todd, I did have a question. So that's their, for better or for worse, that is their language now, and so we have to be where the public is, and that's where they are. And it's not just the kids too. Everyone's on Facebook.
Yeah. Well, appreciate the work that you do on that. If somebody wants to find out more about the Kansas Highway Patrol, whether it be job recruitment or they're interested in a job, that sort of thing, if they wanted to find out more about what you do, how to be involved at some point, where do they go?
KansasHighwayPatrol.org. That's our website. Pretty easy to remember, KansasHighwayPatrol.org. On that page, they can get numerous things. You know, you can get a link to the road conditions. If we work a fatality or injury crash, you can look at our crash logs and read all about that crash. They can do recruiting there. They can get all kinds of information off that website. You know, if they buy a car from out of state and they need to get it inspected, tells you every town and city and county on there where you can do that.
And if you have your cell phone, you're out on the road, can you connect that way usually with Highway Patrol?
Well, as long as you're not driving, of course. You know.
Yeah, of course. You got to pull off the side of the road, yeah.
But yeah, it's on the website. We don't have a app or anything like that, but because everything's pretty much on our website. But you can check it on your mobile phone. If you
At one point there was a Star HP that you could
Star
jump on.
HP or Star 47.
Yep.
The H and the P is the 4 and the 7 on your cell phone. So if you need us for anything, and please, if you have a social media page and you follow me on social media, don't message me that there's a bad driver on that, because I don't monitor it 24/7.
Because you can't pull off the road all the time either. and read your message.
No. Or I'm at home and I'm spending time with my family and I'm not paying attention to it. So that's what we're seeing. That's why we're trying to get that message out there. Something goes on, you need something, star 47. Now, if 911 still always works.
Now, you mentioned one thing. We'll quickly wrap up here. Somebody sees a problem, sees something bad. What should they do?
To report it?
Yeah, because it's one of those things when, a lot of things you can't be everywhere.
Yeah.
So sometimes the eyes of those of us that are out there, they see something, we see something going wrong. Is that where you go, the 911 or the star 47 and do that and make sure that you report it so that it helps you get your job done as well?
Yeah, and that's another reason why we started what our pages have turned into, our social media pages, is more of a 21st century community policing page. And to where
a neighborhood watch.
Yeah, to where we and the public team up together to to stop crime, to stop drunk driving, help report this, report that. We do need the public's help. I mean, law enforcement can't survive without the public. So so people can call that in. Just remember, if you're going to call in, make sure that we get a lot of calls saying that there's a blue Ford pickup going east on I-70, and then our dispatchers are like, they have to give it to us. So they're like, blue Ford pickup, at a high rate of speed. And I'm like, there's one, there's two.
There they go, yeah. So give them more detail.
Yeah, so if you can get a tag, even a partial tag, if you get the 1, 2, 3 off the front of it and you can't get the letters, great. So if that blue Ford pickup goes by and there's a 1, 2, 3, I'm like, that might be.
At least it's close. Might check it out.
Mm-hmm. So location, color, what type of vehicle, and don't be afraid to call in.
Boy, we could go for a long time when you talk about the different areas of flights that the Highway Patrol does, those chases that go on, we hear about those. Maybe we'll have you back again and talk about some of that other stuff as well.
Okay, did somebody volunteer me for this?
I'm sure they probably called in and said, call Trooper Todd get him on this.
Need to figure out who that is.
Yeah, find out, yeah. Trooper Todd Hileman has been our guest here. Terrific job of helping during the fire. Again, that was something you were heading home and ended up in the middle of helping people throughout the whole thing, along with other troopers and other people that were out there.
That is our job. It wasn't just me. There were other guys ready to go home, and we were stuck there till midnight. So.
And you made it happen and made our world safer, so thank you very much.
Thank you.
Trooper Todd Hileman, he's also the Public Information Officer for Northwest Kansas for the Kansas Highway Patrol. You've been watching The Forum on Eagle Television. It's brought to you by Hayes Med and by Eagle Communications. Our community connected.
It's a beautiful day in our super high-speed internet great customer service neighborhood. Like you, this is where we live. In fact, our company is employee-owned, so it's our goal to improve the quality of life for everyone in our community by delivering faster, more reliable internet, clearer, more feature-laden phone service, quality TV channels, all with the level of customer service you'd expect from people who are your neighbors. Eagle Communications, our community connected.